Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our grade 9 open house for the 2020 school year here. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We have several guests who are making their way into the room, so we'll get started in a few minutes. I want to do a big shout out to our families. We have a number of families who are overseas right now who are joining us, some who are on the West Coast, so good afternoon to everybody on the West Coast. And good evening to everybody in Toronto and the surrounding areas. While we miss having families visit us in the school, it is awfully nice to be able to have a chance to speak to you at your homes. Hopefully you found a comfortable spot and you're ready for the next hour to learn more about Havergal, learn what makes our school so special, and of course, what it's like to come in grade 9. So we have a number of people on our panel tonight who are looking forward to speaking with you. And at the end of this evening, we will have a chance to answer some questions if you'd like to pop them in the Q&A. I'd like to thank all of the guests who asked questions when you registered. That's really what we use to form the basis of tonight's presentation. And it really is just an opportunity for those of you who work most closely with our grade 9 students to speak about their program, speak about the connections they have with our students, and of course, what happens within their departments to support the students who are in grade 9. So our numbers are continuing to climb. We'll just give it a minute more. And you'll notice that we all have a different background on our screen. We've had quite a conversation about that tonight, about where our favorite spots on Havergal's campus are. And for those of you who've been able to sign up for our campus visit on Friday, you'll get to experience some of the places that you're seeing on our backgrounds and some of our favorite spaces at Havergal. We're really looking forward to Friday's visit and having a chance to share the outside of our campus while giving you a glimpse as to what goes on behind the ivy and of course, beyond the ivy. All right, so we seem to be leveling off with our numbers. I know we'll have people join us as the evening progresses, but in the interest of time, I'd like to start now. We did promise families that we would start at 7 and end at 8. I know how busy everybody is. So with that, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Maggie Houston-White. I'm the Executive Director of Strategic Enrollment Management at Havergal, which is quite a long title, but what that means is I oversee the recruitment, admission, and retention of families at Havergal, because here we believe it's about the full journey from the first time you call our admission office to well after your daughter has graduated and become one of our old girls. That journey is something we need to go on with you, we need to partner with you, and we need to make sure is a special one for your child. So I'd like to hand it over to our prefects right now.
Hi everyone, my name is Hannah.
And my name is Paris.
And as mentioned, we are the admissions prefects for the 21-22 school year. So we both came in grade 9 as new girls, so we're extremely excited to be hosting this event with you to talk about the very special place that is Havergal.
Yeah, and our role in the school is to help organize events such as this and connect with prospective families and students, as well as contribute to the overall prefect team with planning initiatives within the school. We're gonna pass it back to Ms. Houston-White.
Thank you, Hannah and Paris. It's so great to have you with us tonight, and they've been instrumental in planning this event, but also planning all the different ways we want to help our applicants connect with the school. So Hannah and Paris will actually be running their own webinar later on in the admission season. So we're looking forward to having you join us for that. But before we get to that, tonight is all about grade 9. And of course, a very important person to all of our students in the senior school is our head of senior school, Deirdre Temisk. So I'd like to pass it over to you. And she'll talk not just about why Havergal, but why the senior school in particular.
Great. Maggie, could you go to the next slide for me, please?
Right.
It is my pleasure to welcome you and introduce you to the senior school at Havergal. Every school is focused on its own particular mission and values. The mission of Havergal is to prepare young women to make a difference. And as such, we aim to create students who will become active and responsible citizens who were willing and able to give back and contribute to the world in order to make it a better place. Our decisions are always grounded in our values of integrity, inquiry, compassion, and courage. These values guide us as we help develop programming for our students and prepare them for the future. Next slide. So what does a Havergal graduate look like? While each student has different interests and skills, our goal is to create globally minded students who are able to look beyond the walls of this building and see how they can make a difference. They are doing this by being lifelong learners who are able to adapt and are ready to take on the future. These students are inspired to take action and will do so with empathy and integrity so that they can navigate the digital world that we can only imagine might exist for them in the future. Next slide. Our purpose begins with helping students discover their best selves. And this includes learning who they are as a learner and a leader. It's about helping students find their passions, learn about new ideas, and continually connecting them to the world around them. We know that well-being supports wrapped around our academic programs help students become their best selves. And as such, I want to begin by talking about student support and what that looks like at Havergal. Students feel support when they feel like they're part of a community, something bigger than themselves. One of the bedrocks which helps to build a connection to Havergal comes from our prayer gatherings. Twice a week in non-pandemic times, the entire school gathers in our hall and has a shared experience. Music, speakers, student presentations, and singing form the framework of this time. Spending this special time together gives students a sense of belonging, which quickly grows in the hearts of the new students and help them know that they will always be part of Havergal's 184-year-old alumni family. In addition to prayers, we support our students on this journey in many other ways outside of the traditional classroom. It continues by breaking down the school into small 60-student cross-grade groupings called houses. These houses form a smaller family unit within the larger school. Within these houses, students can connect with each other in different grades, and it provides a natural place for mentoring between students. Boarding students form an important part of the house family and are integrated into each house. Students develop an identity as a member of that house, complete with cheers, songs, house colors, and friendly inter-house competitions. Within these houses are even smaller groupings called advisory groups. About 12 students are placed together and meet weekly with their one teacher called their TA. The TA helps facilitate our advisory program, which has been specially designed to help each student learn more about themselves. Advisory sessions support students with both their academics, such as their time management skills or course selections, as well as social emotional support, such as learning about the way that mindfulness can be used to help decrease anxiety. These sessions can also be used to address social justice issues and recent events in the news that need to be discussed and unpacked. Examples of recent advisory sessions include examining cultural appropriation, as well as looking at resilience and gratitude. There are also a myriad of one-on-one supports for your child. Each child is assigned a guidance counselor who is there for academic advice, learning support, and a shoulder to sometimes to cry on. Students who enter in grade 9 meet once a week with their counselor for the first 6 weeks of school to ensure that they are adjusting well to life at Havergal. For students who require additional learning support, that is available as well. Some students have an individual plan that is developed and may consist of weekly meetings to help with planning or extra help with their academic teachers. Every student is encouraged to do their best work, whatever that looks like for them. and we build support to help them reach their goals. And for those who may require more extensive counseling, they can meet with our in-house full-time social worker. Next slide. I want to talk about the opportunities outside the classroom. And I want to take a moment to tell you about a conversation I had with my grade 9 teen this morning. When I asked him, what's on the docket for today? He replied, band, my club, and volleyball after school. And I laughed and said, what about classes? And he said dismissively, oh yes, I'll have those too. And I think that quick exchange can demonstrate how important and vital a strong co-curricular program is to a school and to the students who go there. Developing students who are ready to lead and make a difference is fundamental to our purpose. Leadership opportunities begin right away as students have the opportunity to run for an elected position, and they are also able to take on other leadership roles in an abundant array of positions that organically arise within each club, team, and ensemble. Our recent Truth and Reconciliation Week was planned by a group of over 20 students who range from grade 7 to grade 12, who work to create lunchtime activities, as well as connecting with speakers to educate our students during prayers. This group of students also designed our education advisory lesson, which was shared with all 600 students in the upper school. And many of those students were new grade 9 students who entered this year. Our co-curricular programming is where our students continue to thrive and grow, be it participating in our Model UN or debating program, or joining robotics. Students will be able to find something they can get excited about. They can also join one of our affinity groups or learn more about other cultures in our brave spaces. And of course, our community partnership network allows our students to volunteer in a meaningful way with our local community. And while exchanges are currently on hold, we hope to be able to take students on excursions very soon. Our arts and athletics program are extensive, and I will leave that to the experts, Sissy Goodridge and Carla DeFilippo, to elaborate on their offerings later. I will now ask Jennifer Goldberg, our head of English, to talk about the academic program here at Havergal.
Thanks so much, Deirdre. So as Deirdre mentioned, I'm the head of one academic department in the upper school. So I oversee the 7 to 12 program in English and drama. And reflecting on how to share with you the richness of our academic program, I really have to say it's challenging to fit it into a soundbite. So something concrete I can offer you is the number of graduates who in pre-COVID times would come straight to the building, and since COVID have gotten in touch with folks in my department, and I know many other departments as well, and just shared so enthusiastically graduates who are off on many different kinds of paths and experiences, how incredibly well prepared they feel in the next stage of their life. So not only stories about students who became on their floor at their residence the go-to person for how to write a university first year essay, but even equally or more importantly for us, students who are having such a meaningful and joyful experience continuing on in their learning journey. So to tell you a little bit more specifically about our program, Havergal, and what I really have always valued as a teacher at Havergal, and one of the things that I love about the institution is that it's a place where thinking is valued, and thinking and learning for its own sake are something that we all enjoy, we all love, we're all committed to. And we really, as teachers, are working in our curriculum design to equip students to wrestle with big, real-world questions. Our assessments are designed around authentic performance tasks that mirror and mimic the kinds of work that folks in these disciplines, historians, scientists, are performing in the bigger, wider world. I did want to mention diversity, equity, and inclusion, which is something Deirdre touched on as part of many aspects of life in the senior school. And I just wanted to say it's a big part of our curricular planning as well, the importance of our curriculum offering students both windows and mirrors, so reflections of themselves and their own experiences and also of others and diverse experiences. So in English, one facet of that commitment looks like us really working to ensure that we have multiple and diverse perspectives in our English classrooms, both in terms of the authors and stories that we're bringing into the curriculum, and also our approach to pedagogy, really prioritizing bringing texts and learners into conversation with each other. Our students at Havergal are active learners, and they increasingly, over the course of their 9 to 12 experience, have more and more agency and direction over the path of their learning to really individualize and differentiate according to where their passions lie and where they want to go. We have a timetable, for example, that's constructed with what is at our school called Flex Block. And really that's just a certain percentage of class time in which students have total control over the pace and path of their learning. While I'm talking about classes, I did want to mention, because I saw questions from folks who are attending tonight about class size. So grade 9 is capped at 20 students per class, and then those class sizes shrink pretty consistently grade by grade as there are more courses and more offerings. And so they would only get smaller from there. I am a faculty member at Havergal, so this feels a little bit awkward to say, but I have to say that teachers in this institution are incredible. I am so fortunate. I know obviously very well my own team in the English and Drama department, but so many colleagues. We really, really are invested in our students. We meet your children where they are. And our focus is really on relationships first, because we know that in order to support children and students, young people, in becoming the best versions of themselves, we really need to know them and they really need to trust us. And so that is always our first priority. And the last thing I'll say before handing things off to one of our VPs, Garth Nichols, is that one of the things as a teacher that I have felt most rewarding at Havergal is the opportunity to be a learner myself. And so some of the most phenomenal professional development opportunities of my career have been afforded to me by the institution. And that has really stoked and fed my love of this work. And so made me, and I know so many others of my colleagues, really, really grateful for our place in the institution. So thank you. And over to Garth Nichols.
Thanks, Ms. Goldberg, appreciated. Welcome, everybody. I hope that you're enjoying the evening so far. I'm enjoying it because it's great to hear from my colleagues. What I'd like to do is start off by starting big, and we'll go into the weeds a little bit, and then we'll come back and give you sort of a pan out view of what I do. So my name is Garth Nichols, and I'm the Vice Principal of Strategic Innovation and Design. It's a JK to 12 role, but I wanted to break it down for you just a little bit. Strategy in its essence is where we want to say, what we want to say yes to and what we want to say no to. Where do we think it's important to play, and where can we sort of build on our strengths? So that's strategy, and innovation is about adding value. Where can we do more with less? Where can we find ways to actually add value to the student experience? And the last part of my title is design. And I want to emphasize that that element is student-centered and it's research-based. So when you think of strategic innovation and design, we're looking in and we're looking out to try and make sure that Havergal continues to be a leader in education, both in the province and in the world as well. So let's pan in just a little bit. One of my key roles is to oversee HCX, and that's an innovation hub within the school. So think of innovation hubs that you might see on the West Coast or something like that, and transplant it in Havergal and make the focus on education. It's an innovation hub designed for course curriculum development and professional learning, and student experiences as well. So I want to talk about 4 key areas. And the first one is course design. And because this is centered on grade 9s, let's talk about the exciting adventure of designing a grade 9 course that's actually going to launch next year. This grade 9 course is going to ask students to challenge the Sustainable Development Goals of the UN. And that challenge is going to be fueled by their passion. Now, Ms. Goldberg already spoke to this idea of agency. Students in this course are going to select from one of the 17 different the Sustainable Development Goals, and they're going to be able to challenge that goal, explore it, research it. It's going to be project-based, and it's going to be in a sort of a finite time limit. So it's going to bring in geography, science, English, and we're going to look at these challenges through the lens of a transdisciplinary approach. And I'll speak a little bit more about the future of work, but this is more and more the call to action that employers of the future are going to be looking for. The second example I'd like to give you is the Global Learning and Leading Diploma. It's in its third year, and it started small, and it's actually tripled in size already. We have about 18 faculty mentors this year, and we've got about 36 student participants who have applied to the program. I like the term bespoke because it really is accentuating and amplifying student agency. Students are put in the center of their learning. They direct it. They look at big questions. They're doing an online portfolio from grades 10 to 11 to 12 to track their learning. It's highly research-based. And yet at the same time, there's a lot of challenge and support through dedicated modules. Modules that look specifically at the current challenges that the students are facing, but that we as a community are facing as well. So that's a Global Learning and Leading Diploma. I've mentioned already a little bit about the future of work, but I want to circle back on that. Out of HCX, we do a lot of work within and beyond the educational sector. So we're doing research with Deloitte, McKinsey, Korn Ferry, just to mention a few, that really challenge us to consider what the future of work will be. What's the world going to look like? What's the world going to look like in the future? Now, I'm a huge fan of baseball. The playoffs are on. One of my favorite quotations is from Yogi Berra, a very famous Yankee. And he said, "The future just ain't what it used to be." And so our role is to try and figure out how we can navigate, understand, and support and develop these skills in our students. And the way that we do that, this is the fourth example, is by making really good strategic partnerships. Partnerships with these future-facing companies like Convergence.tech, Amitros, which is an AI learning platform that our students actually are engaging with, which is really exciting. But we also look at experiential education as well. And Ms. Tomusk already talked a little bit about our community partnerships. And we at HCX really try and foster community partnerships that prioritize the people, partnership approach, perspective, and place. So reaching out and learning a little bit more about what the world has in store for them. So speaking of that, let's pan out just a little bit. And can you change the slide there, Maggie? Thank you. So you've seen this before, and I wanted to highlight the image in the right-hand corner there. This is part of the Global Learning and Leading Diploma. It was also offered to other classes as well, but you see a circle of students sitting on top of the Indigenous Atlas of Canada. So this is something that we partnered with the National Canadian Geographic Society with, and we actually partnered with an elder from Wandering Spirit School in downtown Toronto. And so students got to consider how this atlas looked and felt different to them based on what they've been learning over time. It was a really powerful learning experience. And so when we talk about the portrait of a grad, we're talking about preparing our students to see things a little bit differently. Now, we may have heard of the term VUCA before. This is a term that was coined by the US military to describe the theater of war back in the 1990s. And it's more and more being used to to understand our current conditions, our current world. So VUCA stands for a world that is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And when you layer on top of that the future of work, it can be overwhelming. It can be daunting to even consider that. But I want to put it to you tonight that our portrait of a grad is Havergal's articulation of how we are a future-ready organization, how we are continuing to be a lead learning organization. And so when we look at the portrait of a grad, we can do this neat little thing where we change VUCA from those overwhelming words to allowing our students to have a vision, a positive impact. What's the difference they want to make in the world? They have understanding. They seek out perspectives. They don't just take them, but they seek them out. They address challenges through creativity, right? That's the ability to think flexibly and with agility. But they also have ambition. They have ambition to lead. They have ambition to make decisions, and they have ambition to know who they are. And I think that's really, really important. So if we pan now back a little bit further, my role is to support and build on what Ms. Tomuscus has already talked to you about, what Ms. Goldberg has already talked to you about. So we're building on really solid foundations, where Havergal is a school with really good foundations and traditions, but we're not a traditional school. We continue to look outside, continue to partner with a really intentional lens to ensure that that student-centered experience is one that has huge value now and in the future. So with that, I'm going to pass it off to Ms. DiFilippo to talk a little bit about our athletics program. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Garth. And I do appreciate that sports quote in your presentation. Love that. Hi, everyone. My name is Carla DiFilippo, and I am the Director of Athletics at Havergal. As you can see in this slide, Havergal has an absolutely beautiful campus. And from an athletics lens, we're very lucky to have 3 outdoor playing fields, 6 outdoor tennis courts, 1 single and 1 double gym, a 25-meter swimming pool, a climbing wall, a 9-hole disc golf course, and a fitness center equipped with free weights, bikes, treadmills, elliptical trainers, weight machines, and pretty much everything you need to get a good workout. Students also have access to a physiotherapist as well as a strength and conditioning coach. You could go to slide 2, please. Thank you. You can read the athletics philosophy on this page, but the goal of athletics at Havergal is to provide a range of experience to meet the diverse needs of students, from elite athletes in more traditional sports to those who just want to try sport for the first time. Sports such as Nordic skiing, curling, or even disc golf, which is my personal favorite, there is definitely something for you. These can be highly elite teams that compete in Division I, or competitive teams that compete in Division II, or even recreational teams that have exhibition games or games amongst themselves. The more popular sports at our senior school for our senior school students have both a Division I and Division II league with committed coaches and CISA league play that is relevant to their skills. We also have sport clubs. Some examples of these are yoga and the triathlon club. Clubs may also emerge with student interest in a particular sport. As a school, we compete in the CISAA locally, OFSA provincially, and CASE nationally. So those are all fancy acronyms for different things, but OFSA is provincials and CASE is national. The last year we had competitive sports. 4 of our teams qualified for OFSA. Our soccer team won the CASE tournament, and our open swim team were OFSA champions. We also had numerous CISAA championships. And as proud as we are about the winning is fun, it really is not about that, except for hockey day. No, just kidding. It's not even about that hockey day. Athletics is an opportunity for students to find friendships, challenge themselves, experience failure and growth, and most importantly, to have fun. We try our best to instill in our athletes the knowledge and experience that selfless, authentic, and team-first values and behaviors will allow them to navigate the relationships, experiences, and time of adversity with courage, composure, and an understanding that supporting others will positively contribute to their own growth and development. It's our attempt to transfer the skills taught through sport to all facets of life. And I encourage you, if you want to learn more about the athletic program at Havergal, we do have a very good Instagram page at Havergal_Gators. I encourage you all to check it out. And now I will pass it on to my colleague, Sissy.
Hi, good evening, everyone. It is a pleasure to be with you here tonight. It's always a pleasure listening to my colleagues talking about all of the things that are going on at Havergal. And I am here to talk about the performing arts and all of the things that I have the pleasure of doing with our students and our faculty. Here is our philosophy for the performing arts. We believe that all of our students should experience the arts, and most importantly, we want to help students discover and develop their unique skills and talents through our co-curricular and supported by our academic program. Whether you want to try something new or continue to develop your passions, our program strives for excellence and it combines critical thinking and whole person development approach to learning. Next slide, please. Here at Havergal, we have a number of ensembles that we offer for our students in the upper school. There's some photos here that I will tell you about. We have the Symphonic Band, who is our senior ensemble. I have the pleasure of conducting that group. And I'm also happy to say that the arts are alive and back and well after the pandemic. And we are fully back rehearsing with this and all of our other ensembles. The Symphonic Band comprises of about 50 to 60 students in grades 10 through 12. We also have a grade 9 ensemble for our grade 9 students. We also have our dance troupe, which you can see here at the bottom left. That is from our last dance show in 2019 before the pandemic hit. But the dance troupe is a group of students who have had no experience to several years of experience. It's a competitive group, but we also encourage anyone who loves to dance to audition for this ensemble. The senior choir is our largest choral group at the school, and your top left photo here is at our annual carol service, which is held at St. Paul's Bloor Street, and we are so looking forward to going back to the church and participating in the carol service. The senior choir is for any student in grade 9 through 12 who loves to sing. We have typically around 80 students in this ensemble. And if you've never sung before, this is the group for you. If you've sung for many years, this is also the group for you. We really want to help develop our students and their passions when it comes to singing. The chamber choir is a smaller ensemble, and this group is what I would call our elite singing group in the school. It's typically between 12 and 16 singers, and they're usually students who have had many years of singing experience. So this is a much smaller group, but we do encourage all of our students to work and try to get into this ensemble if it's something that they're interested in doing. We have drama that is alive and well at school. We have a senior school play that we do each year. This year, with some of the restrictions that are in place, we're still able to offer it for our students. We're having 2 senior school shows, one that will support our grade 9 and 10 students, and another show that will support our grade 11 and 12 students. And these shows are typically done in March. We have our senior orchestra. You can see in the bottom right-hand corner there, those are some of our younger students, and that's where we get them really keen on performing with stringed instruments. And then they eventually get into the senior ensemble, which this ensemble again is for grades 9 through 12. And if you have experience playing a string instrument, this is the group for you. The dance team is one of our elite dance groups. So our dance troupe is is a group for all of our dancers. But if there's some that are wanting to get into competitions, the dance team is the route that they would go. We offer a music retreat each year for our senior ensembles. We're looking forward to having this in about 3 weeks from now. And this is where we take about 150 students away from our campus. And we really hone in on their skills for about 3 days. They work in small groups and in large ensembles. We bring specialists in from across the country to work with our students. And it's really quite an amazing experience for our students. Musical theater is something that is new this year. We haven't done it before, but we're looking forward to trying that in the spring. It's something that the students have continually come to me and asked for us to do. So I'm taking their lead, and we're going to give it a go in the spring. And that's pretty much what we've got in our upper school program. Again, it's something that we really just encourage all of our students to try something new, reignite some passions, and we look forward to welcoming you here. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Heather Johnstone, our head of guidance.
Good evening. My name is Heather Johnstone. I'm the head of the guidance department at Havergal. We're a department of 6 counselors, 4 of which work with students grades 9 through 12. We have a model where we have 2 counselors working with students in grade 9 and 10, and then 2 different counselors working with students in grade 11 and 12. This allows us to specialize to the needs of age-specific students. So kids in grade 9 and 10 need different things and are interested in different things than kids in grades 11 and 12. And our model allows us to kind of be specialist and sort of really tuned into the needs of those age-specific things that kids go through in 9 and 10 versus 11 and 12. Our counselors are organized by house. So as Maggie had said at the beginning, or it might have been Deirdre actually talking about how sort of kids are put into a house within our school. Their house will determine who their guidance counselor is. And then again, they'll go to a different guidance counselor in grade 11. Our stats are online, so you're certainly welcome to peruse through our graduate profiles. They are all available on the website. I think there may be 10 years of profiles that you're welcome to peruse through. And on there, those have all the statistics of basically what happens at the end of 4 years, because at the end of 4 years, the majority of our students are interested in heading off to university. And so those profiles will tell you sort of where they go. And what you'll find is consistently our students are scattered across the top programs, not only in North America, but in the UK, in the US, and even further afoot. We've had students going to all different countries in the world to study, including Australia, Holland, Korea, China, Japan. So we've had really amazing results for our students on the university front as well. A lot of people ask about our curriculum, and we are not a school that commits to those standardized boxed up curriculums that tend to be things like AP systems or IB systems. We do offer 5 AP courses at our school. That is not a barrier for students applying to international schools. Actually, in some ways, it's actually amazing for students because there's no expectation that they are seeking curriculum that their school doesn't offer. And what I mean by that is these university readers in, for example, elite universities, maybe an Ivy League school in the US, they're not interested in students spending all their time seeking AP credits for courses their school does not offer. They are more interested in what kids are doing with their time when they're not studying. So the great thing about not offering tons and tons of advanced placement courses is that students are kind of free to then sort of pursue some of those other passions they might be interested in. And what we see from our kids is that's exactly what they're doing. And I think that's why they are just so successful on that university front, including those top 10 most difficult programs to get into in Canada as well. We have amazing representation across all of those. Our university counseling program and guidance are kind of together, but we're a one-stop shop. So we know the students, not just from an academic standpoint, but we also know them from a social emotional standpoint. We're there, and like Deirdre said, a shoulder to cry on when they need it, a place that they can just decompress if they really just need to take a deep breath. But at the same time, we will also help them with that academic counseling and planning. We'll help them if they need to navigate working with a teacher on something. If they get behind with their coursework, we're a really good place to help students get themselves back on track. Maybe they're having trouble navigating something with friends. That's the kind of work that happens in our offices. When students are new in grade 9, they are put into, as Deirdre alluded to, an actual 6-week program, first 6 weeks, where students are pulled into the guidance office by their counselor 1 day a week for the first 6 weeks, and then given an option to continue that, or then they can just go ad hoc when they need help. Most of those students have continued beyond the 6 weeks. Most of them want to stay for a little while, and sometimes they like to stay for, maybe the first semester, just to make sure their feet are on the ground. And, their counselors are helping them navigate how to get involved in sports or how to get involved in clubs. things like that. All the things that you're not sure about when you might be new to a place. So in the 9-10 program, counselors will spend a lot of time pulling kids in, asking them to come in, making intentional meetings. By 11 and 12, in our quest for, having students be better advocates for their own needs, to sort of build that student agency, we would expect kids to then reach out when they have questions, to come in, to make appointments. So we really try to move them toward that sort of independence of, okay, I have a question, I'm going to make an appointment with my guidance counselor. I'm not going to sit and wait for them to drag me into their office. So, and then by grade 12, we find that they just poke into our office all the time, maybe like all the time. So it's a really sort of special place. It's a great relationship we are able to build with students. Really proud of the program that we have in guidance at Havergal. The counselors are top drawer. They're amazing people. They really are skilled. They're really experienced. And I can speak on behalf of having my own student that started Havergal in grade 9 and is currently in grade 12. She is excited and happy to go to school every day. I cannot believe the quality of the teaching in the school. It is just a very, very special place. With all that said, speaking of grads and special grads, I'm going to turn the floor over to our prefects, Paris and Hannah.
Thank you, Mrs. Johnstone. Just to reiterate, my name is Paris and I'm one of the admissions prefect. And I'm just going to go over my experience as a new Havergal student. In grade 9, I'd say coming into Havergal, it was definitely memorable. I won't say that it was completely easy to integrate myself into the community because, like with any new environment, it's always a struggle to meet new people. However, the helpful part about Havergal was that they worked to make my transition into the school as easy as possible. I was able to join many different clubs, sports teams, and leadership roles that gave me the confidence to meet new people. There were many events specifically for new girls to help introduce them to other students, not only in their grade, but others as well. I found that the role of house was vital to many of my new friendships. It was a simple way of meeting people in every grade, which allowed me to grow more comfortable with my surroundings. As well, coming from a public school, I was extremely nervous about the transition from public to private. But the positive environment here completely welcomed me and acknowledged the difficulty new students might have. The smaller class sizes allowed me to form more meaningful relationships with my teachers and allowed for easier access for one-on-one help. My favorite thing about HC classes is that curiosity is encouraged. As a student, I know that people often feel like asking questions is a disruption and should be avoided. However, here we are constantly motivated to continue asking questions and not to be afraid when we get answers wrong. My teachers have been a strong pillar in making me who I am today, and their encouragement has given me the confidence to participate and voice my own opinions. Next year, as I look forward towards university, I'm nervous to leave the comfort of Havergal, but I always think back to my first year and how at first it was really scary and new, but eventually I adjusted. And I know that thanks to Havergal, I'm well equipped for the new obstacles that are coming my way.
So similar to Paris, as I look back on my experience at HC, I'm so thankful for all the new things I was able to try that I've never imagined myself doing. For example, I played cello with the school orchestra at Roy Thompson Hall. I joined the swim team as a non-swimmer and participated in clubs such as DECA and robotics to explore my interests across different disciplines. So as an all-girls school, Havergal gave me the space to take risks and truly discover what it is I am passionate about. So from lively discussions at Harkness roundtables to performing experiments in science class to musical performances on Footloose Friday, there is never a dull moment in my day, truly. And I've also had experience to grow my leadership skills, both formally and informally. Through councils and student-run initiatives, I've been able to form so many new connections and find community and shared interests. I still recall my first time feeling a sense of belonging at the school. It was a cold winter morning, and then I came into school to be surprised with the whole hot chocolate event in the student commons. So among the music and the whipped cream, I felt truly at home as the grade 12 student leaders poured each of us a warm cup of hot cocoa. So it is moments like these that I'll never forget, and I'm so grateful to have shared with my classmates. Heading into my last year of high school, I'm so grateful to have had the support of teachers, guidance counselors, and classmates who have guided me in my journey as I prepare for my post-secondary pathway. The wide variety of courses available and liberal arts education at HC have let me explore and discover my true passions and enter university with confidence in what I want to study. So it's safe to say that I would not be the person I am today without Havergal, and I wouldn't want it any other way. And with that, I'm going to pass it back to Ms. Houston-White.
Thank you so much, Hannah and Paris, and to all my colleagues. And when people ask me all the time, what is the Havergal difference? I think you just heard it. I think the Havergal difference comes with the care and thoughtfulness of our program, our academic program, our well-being program. The way, as Garth said, we're a traditional school, but we're not mired down by traditions. We're really forward facing. And when I look at our students, and I am so grateful to both Hannah and Paris for all of their work and getting to work with them this year, it is the students and the faculty who make this place so very special. And so lots of questions that were submitted about the admission process and what does it take to kind of come to Havergal. So our applications opened back in August and the application deadline is December 1st for this year. For the application, you need to complete an application. You need to have an interview, which includes an assessment. For families who are looking at applying for financial assistance, that deadline is January 3rd, and our scholarship application deadline is January 30th, and our offer date this year is February 25th. I think what I want to say about the admission process is it is a process that is designed to understand the students who are applying. We are looking for what's great about the applicants to Havergal. We are very lucky to have such strong applicants, and we work really hard to make the process personalized, to make it comfortable, and to make it an experience that really reflects what the Havergal experience is all about. So as I mentioned, we have begun our interviews. And interviews for grade 9 are one-on-one. And we work with the students in the interviews on the assessment. Havergal, a couple of years ago, moved away from having standardized assessments for a number of reasons. We recognized that there were some bias in the assessments. We also recognized that a standardized test didn't allow us to understand each of the students as a learner in the way that we wanted to. So within the interview, we will work with your daughter through some math questions. There'll be some creative writing where we get a chance to see her as a learner, to find out about their critical thinking skills, their problem solving skills, and see their creativity in action. Of course, that's one part of the picture. Your daughter's teachers, principals, and coaches all have a great view on who she is as a person and as a learner. So we do ask for them to fill out the confidential applicant profile. As you move through the admission process, getting to know Havergal is the #1 priority. It's about finding the right school for your daughter, for you as a family. What is the best fit for you? So we've designed our virtual admission center to give you options to learn more about our program, whether it's the academic program, the co-curricular program, to have a virtual tour. We've also got an opportunity for you to speak with a parent ambassador if you'd like to speak to one of our parents. And our fabulous admission prefects run admissionprefect@havergal.on.ca, and they're happy to answer your questions as well. Of course, the admission team is here for you throughout the process, and you can reach us at admissions@havergal.on.ca anytime. So I hope today gave you an opportunity to get a sense of what it is like to be a student in grade 9, the group of adults who is there to support all of our students, and to give you a sense of why this Havergal community is such a special place. And with that, I really welcome the opportunity to answer any questions that you may have. The bottom of your screen, you'll see the Q&A button. Please feel free to pop in a question there. And there have been some that have already been submitted. And so I'm going to start right away. I'm going to ask Hannah this very first question. Hannah, when you think about your time at Havergal, what has been your favorite memory?
Well, other than that awesome hot chocolate memory, I would say my favorite memory has just been every morning in the BR hall during prayers, just listening to the music and coming together as a whole school to sing a hymn or listen to a guest speaker has been really special and something I've never experienced before coming to Havergal. So I would say prayers is definitely a definitive memory of my experience.
And it's interesting because prayers, Hannah, is one of those things that almost every grad comes back and talks to. And it's one of the hardest things to describe about Havergal. Havergal was founded in 1894 as an Anglican school. And I'm quite sure back in 1894, everybody was Anglican. But I love the fact that Havergal has grown. And again, I use Garth's phrase, grown in how we celebrate our traditions, but also in how we celebrate the diversity that makes up our student body, and how prayers is an opportunity to live our values, to talk about the celebrations that are happening in all of the families that make up the Havergal community. So a question has popped in that's actually for me. Is SSAT necessary for an application? It's not. So if your daughter has written the SSAT, that's great, you can submit it, but she does not need to write the SSAT to apply to Havergal for grade 9. That's just fine. Ms. Goodrich, there's a question that I'm going to pose to you. My daughter's interested in the arts, but she's never had a chance to play a musical instrument because of COVID. Is it possible for her to learn an instrument at Havergal or to be involved in the arts?
Well, my answer is absolutely yes to both. So we have many, many students who come here without any experience whatsoever learning how to play an instrument or even being in a choir. And that's our job. So I would say not to worry, come on in and we'll take care of you. They have an opportunity to choose between learning how to play a string instrument, a band instrument, or staying in a vocal stream. So whatever her interest, we'll take care of her.
Great. And Mr. Nichols, I'm going to pose this next question to you. I know there was lots of interest in HCX, and we've been hearing a lot about it through families. But the question is, in grade 9, can I get involved in an exchange or an excursion, or how would I be involved in HCX?
Yeah, thanks. It's a great question. So in terms of those types of excursion exchange programs, absolutely. We were obviously in a bit of a waiting period to see what's possible that's out there. But once we have our programs back up and running, and maybe even new programs, absolutely grade 9s are willing to get and able to get involved in those. In terms of HCX and the learning experiences that we have there, those are open to actually 9s to 12s. We do some hackathons. Something which I learned 2 years ago was datathons, which are really, really cool ways to process and crunch some data in order to understand issues a little bit better and come up with solutions. There are other learning programs and learning experiences that we have that are absolutely open, that stretch us into that future readiness realm. So absolutely, you're more than welcome to join those programs.
Thanks, Garth. Jen, I'm going to send the next question over to you. And there's been a couple of families who've asked something similar. So I'm going to sort of merge a couple of questions together. With COVID, learning has been a little bit different. And the sentiment I'm getting is that people are a little concerned. What if their daughter is behind? Will there be extra help, and how will teachers support students as they, sort of navigate this new academic world?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are very, very aware and have experience now with this challenge because we've welcomed a number of new students onto campus in the last month and a half. And we're really happy to say how keen everyone is back on campus, lots of positive energy. And really that's the ingredient we need from students. We are the other part of the equation. So regardless of where students are feeling or facing gaps in their learning from the past 2 years of disruption, we absolutely are here for extra help. So one of the scenes at Havergal in the upper school that often newcomers find surprising and in a positive way, quite charming, is that you'll just see in the hallways, especially now that COVID regulations are a bit different and allow us to get back to this tradition where you'll see teachers and students in corners all over the building, before school, at lunch, after school, during spares for our senior students, meeting one-on-one, having conversations. And of course, in cases where that doesn't work, we now are very adept at meeting one-on-one with students over Zoom as well, through email. But teachers at Havergal are accessible to students in ways that I think those coming from other systems are really unfamiliar with, which is to say, we are here all the time and we're really invested in our students' success. So we understand that anxiety the first couple of months of school. In our department meetings, I know we've been saying we've been so thrilled to see that even students who are very anxious are here and just ready to learn, which is such a powerful ingredient. But we are ready to support and we're here for students in a really rich and fulsome way.
Great. Well, this question isn't for you, Jennifer. It's actually for Paris, because I know she'll be great at answering this. I think it's a student who's asked, I'm a writer, is there a school newspaper? And Paris, having read your most recent article, I will hand that question over to you.
Yeah, so we have our school paper. It's called Behind the Ivy, and it's one of our like competitive clubs. So basically if you want to be a writer or a photographer or an editor, you can basically submit an application to the club heads, and basically everybody can join. And if you're interested in any of those things, you can be part of the club, and it's really fun. I've been on it for 3 years now.
And there's some great articles, and we do, there's a digital version now of Behind the Ivy, which is great, but I still love when that newspaper comes out. So it's great to hear from the students there.
And Maggie, we also have Gator Zone as well, which highlights students. It's students highlighting students, athletes. But Carla, you could probably speak more to that.
You pretty much summed it up there, Garth. But yes, it's a publication about athletics that comes out once a term, so 3 times in a year. And just like Garth said, students highlighting other students' sports accomplishments and other things.
Yeah. And for those who like to write, we also have the Blue Stocking, which is a publication that we put together that's got poetry and short stories in it. And I know we've got a number of our applicants this year are very interested in visual arts. And if you come on Friday, you'll get to see our art, tech, and design wing that is opened with our incredible art spaces in it. And one of my favorite events every year is the Senior Art Show that allows our artists to display their work from grade 9 to grade 12 and tell their story about their growth as an artist. It is an unbelievable event, and is one of my favorites. So a question's been posed. What outdoor education opportunities do you have available for students? And that's an interesting question right now during COVID. While we do have grade-wide trips that happen, that generally will involve the outdoors and experiences outside of Havergal, those have been put on hold because of COVID. We do also offer a course within phys ed that has an outdoor ed component to it as well. So again, it's one of those pieces that we're hoping to open up again. But I really do have to give a shout out to Sissy Goodridge and to Carla DiFilippo, who have worked so hard together to bring back programming. And even last year, as one of the few schools that had our students on campus every single day, there were activities in the arts, in athletics, that girls had a chance to enjoy. My daughter happened to be a graduate last year. And for her, carol service was something she looked forward to as a singer. That was able to happen. Footloose Fridays happened. She was able to be part of a disc golf tournament. And Carla, I know you love it. I still don't get it, but I know the girls really enjoy it. But many, many opportunities for our students, which was really, really exceptional. And with that takes us to just about 8 o'clock. So I'm going to finish with, we'll sort of have a bit of a round table, because I've just mentioned my favorite event at Havergal, which to me is always the Senior Art Show. Many to choose from, but Mr. Nichols, I'm looking at you next. Your favorite Havergal tradition or event?
I have to say, I don't want to copy you, but the salon, the grade 12 art displays are always, they blow my mind. But I do have to say that one of the most impactful moments for me was my very first hockey day, and it continues to be hockey day, mostly because I love how we are aggressively supporting the spirit of the school on that day. And it doesn't matter if we win the trophy against BSS, we always win spirit. And I love that about our students. I love that about everyone who gets involved in that day.
So Paris, as someone who is experiencing some lasts, what is your favorite tradition or event at Havergal?
I have two. So hockey day as well. My first hockey day was an experience. It was very exciting, but I also have to go with the classic prayers, because just sitting in the Brenda Robinson Hall in the mornings with everybody is just something that's unmatched. I love it.
Fantastic. Now, Carla, you can't say hockey day because we know it's one of your favorites.
I just changed my background to hockey day.
And for those of you who don't know what hockey day is, we have an annual game against BSS that we play. It's a day that our students actually have a half day off school and nobody goes home. They all go down to the Mattamy Center and participate in cheering on the hockey team. So Carla, as someone fairly new to our community, what's your favorite event or tradition at Havergal?
Well, since I can't say hockey day, I have to say overall, I love, as a female who's played sports and come from a co-ed school in the past, to see how many of our students participate in our athletic program. It was inspiring to me when I first started here, and seeing the support that they have for each other. And like I said, they are definitely very athletic people at this place, but it's not all about that. And seeing how people will just try something for, take that risk and like try a new sport, and just see how much they support each other in that venue was inspiring for me.
Thanks. And Jennifer, tell me your favorite tradition or event at Havergal.
Well, I'm going to be a little bit cheeky in my answer. As someone who's a bit introverted, I know I was yakking all night tonight, so that's not entirely evident, but as someone who's introverted, one of the things that I find about Havergal that is so incredible is how often I see in the halls, at break times, at transition times, I see students looking after one another in a way that reminds me of people double or triple their age, and at the best of humanity at that. So this incredible expressions of care and kindness that are totally spontaneous. They don't know that anyone's watching, and it's just who they are at their core. And we're inside of a culture where that is normal and encouraged. And so that's something that I see pretty much every day. And it's incredibly important to me as being part of our community.
Thanks, Jennifer. Hannah, what are you going to miss most when you leave Havergal? What's that tradition or event that you will miss?
Well, I can always come back to this, but Celebration Saturday, I really love that special day in September where you have the cookie grams and all the fun events and the food trucks, and you get to see all the booths set up in the BR Hall. So I love Celebration Saturday.
Oh, great. Miss Goodrich, what about you?
Well, I had to do the same as my good friend Carla over there and change my background. So this is prayers in the Brenda Robinson Hall. If I get out of the way, you can see all of our students. I'd have to say, you know that prayers is very near and dear to my heart, but what I would say is my favorite space is the Brenda Robinson Hall, because this is where we come together as a community, but this is where we create incredible music and incredible arts. So you'll see dance in this space. We'll see our choirs sing in this space. The bands play. The Brenda Robinson Hall, for me, that's the bomb.
Heather, what about you? What would you say your favorite tradition or event is?
I love the unsaid thing that we're not allowed to say, but that's like one of my faves for sure, the hockey day. But if I can't say that one, I'm saying something I also really love is the grad staff holiday dinner that we do. And I really hope we can do it this year. And it's where all the grads and all the staff and faculty come together for a holiday celebration right before we leave for 2 weeks in December. that is one of my favorites. It's fun. We sing carols and it's just really easy, and we sit in houses, and it's just a great way to connect with students. The other thing I really like too, that I'm sort of biased about because I love it because my department does it, is our December fireside chats. Because there's usually a fire going in the Temerity Commons in the winter when it's cool outside. And my team has taken to setting up times where we just stick a guidance counselor out there, and the kids will just start and come and sit by the fire, and we just talk about everything and anything. And sometimes there are grads that get there and we just talk about university applications, but sometimes they're younger students and we talk about other things. But it's a pretty special thing, I think, about our school that I really like.
Well, that grad holidays, grad and staff holiday dinner is definitely on my list of favorites, and it is happening this year, is my understanding. So I can't wait for that. So Deirdre, I know you haven't experienced many things at Havergal. So for those of you who haven't met Deirdre, she has been an incredible addition to Havergal's team as our new head of senior school. But Deirdre, maybe you could have our final word as someone who has been new to this community during this year. What's been your favorite memory or your impression of what it's like to be new?
You know, I'm going to tell you a quick story about when Jennifer was talking, it reminded me of this. We had a student, a new grade 9 student who has been online because of visa and some vaccine issues. She's been online for the first month of school, and she came to school for the first time a week ago. And she showed up, and I met her and was walking her around the school, and suddenly this other student turned around and looked at her and said, "Oh, hi, Sylvia, how are you?" They didn't know each other from outside of the school. She'd only recognized her from being in the class. And this other student, Caitlin, turned around to me and said, "Oh, Miss Timmisk, you don't need to do this anymore. I will take care of her. I will take her to her first class and make sure she gets from class to class. And I will make sure we'll have lunch with her and, send her off at the end of the day." And watching that, this student who's only in grade 9 herself take charge of this brand new student without any instruction from me, I think really speaks to the warmth and caring of the community at Havergal, and how warm everybody has been with me as well. But just spontaneously, as Jennifer said, off she went. And I will say, I actually interviewed her today because I do meet one-on-one with all the new and returning grade 9 students. And today she came in, she reported that she had 3 and 4 new friends by the second day of school, and they have lunch together every day. And she rattled off all the things she was involved with. And she's been here a week. Yeah. So, I mean, that's the amazing thing about this place. The girls it's just part of the culture to take care of each other and to look after each other. And that has been a warm and wonderful thing. And such a pleasant thing to have at Havergal College.
Thank you so much. And thank you to everybody for joining us tonight. I hope you got the sense of a bit of the magic that happens every day here at Havergal, whether it's through our academic program, through our well-being program, or just through the daily lives that our students get a chance to experience and we get to experience alongside with them. We're really looking forward to meeting you all through the admission process, and to supporting you, and to getting to know your family, and to introducing you to more of what makes Havergal such a special place. So thank you so much to our panelists. Thank you so much to everybody who joined us tonight. Have a fantastic evening. Take care all.